Hello, my name is Sarah Jo Hall, Head of Adoption West Yorkshire, and I'm really pleased to be able to welcome you to our very first online information event. We would, in normal circumstances, invite you to meet with some of our staff team from across the agency and also to meet with some experienced adopters, as well as providing information about the children waiting for adoption. However, our main aim in this presentation today is to provide you with some information online to help you make a decision about whether adoption is right for you. I'd like to reassure you that we do have children waiting for adoption and are working hard to ensure that we can assess and prepare adopters using a range of different technologies to support this work. We are still learning how to use the various tools, but I've been really pleased that our staff have risen to the challenge. They've found ways to continue to provide an excellent service to prospective adopters and are using innovative approaches in supporting families given the issues we all currently face. I'm going to hand over now to Michelle Rawlings, who is one of our service managers and leads on the recruitment of adopters. I do hope you find the information helpful, and there will be some information at the end of the presentation for you about next steps. Many thanks for listening.
Often when people start their adoption journey, they've heard information about adoption from different places and they're worried that there are things that will prevent them from moving forward in the process. So I'd like to start by sharing with you some information that will hopefully address some of those myths that you might have heard. Lots of single men and women choose to adopt, and having a one-to-one relationship can really benefit some children. Already having children will not prevent you from adopting. As part of the assessment process, we will look at the needs of any of existing children and see how that would work alongside the needs of an adopted child. We usually recommend an age gap of around 2 years between existing children in the family and a new child joining. People often ask if there is an age limit to becoming an adoptive parent, and there absolutely isn't. You need to be at least 21 years of age in order to make an adoption application. However, the important thing is that you are well, fit, healthy, and able to meet the needs of a child into adulthood. All our children are different and they all need different types of families. Your gender and sexuality are not important when it comes to adoption. What matters is that you can offer a child a loving, stable and permanent home. You can work if you become an adoptive parent, but it's important that you're able to achieve a work-life balance and that in the first instance you're able to take an extended period off work in order to build a relationship with any child or children joining your family. You don't need to own your own home in order to adopt, but you do need to be able to provide a child with a safe, secure environment in which they can grow after a difficult start. People often come to adoption having tried for a number of years to have a birth child, and we appreciate that this is a really emotional, difficult time. Adoption can also be emotional and challenging, and it feels like a bit of a roller coaster at times, so we need to know that you're emotionally ready to start the adoption journey. If you have had some fertility treatment, take a little time out to look after yourselves so that you know that when you start the adoption journey, you're absolutely ready. You don't need to have a specific income or a certain amount of savings in order to adopt. What we look for is people who can provide a child with a loving home and are also financially stable enough to meet the needs of that child as they grow. A child's ethnicity forms part of their identity, and although adopters are able to adopt a child of a different ethnicity to their own, it's important for us to explore as part of the assessment process how you would meet the needs of that child and support them in exploring their identity as they grow. Having a criminal record will not prevent you from adopting unless you have a history of violent offences or offences against children. We will carry out a DBS check as part of the assessment, and it's important that you are open and honest from the very beginning about any offences that you may have in order for us to explore these as part of the assessment process. The adoption assessment process is made up of two parts. The first part, stage one of the process, involves us finding out a little bit more about you and you finding out more about the adoption process. So during that time, we would ask you about your health and your general well-being. We would undertake checks with your local authority. We would undertake a criminal records check to see whether there are any reasons why you shouldn't move forward in the adoption process. Alongside this, you will be finding out more about adoption. You will be given training materials, you will have the opportunity to talk to social workers, and you will learn more about what the process entails, and also learn more about our children, what their needs are and the type of parenting that they require as a result of their early trauma and life experiences. If at the end of stage one you feel now's the time for you to carry on with your adoption journey, and we feel that the time is right too, then you will move into stage two of the process. It's at this point that you'll get allocated a social worker, and they will start getting to know you better in order for them to be able to write your prospective adopters report. They'll ask you lots of questions about your childhood and your early life experiences. They'll ask you about the journey that's led you to adoption, your relationship if you're in a couple, and about the knowledge, skills, and experience you could bring to parenting an adopted child. At times, this process can feel quite intrusive, and you can question why social workers are asking certain questions. This is all a process of getting to know you so that we can match you with the right child or children for your family moving forward. We'd now like to share with you some experiences of people who've been impacted by adoption.
We went to meet Roman at his foster carer's house, and he came running to the door.
We'd been pre-warned, hadn't we, that he was wanting to wear his favourite jumper to impress
It
us.
was too small for me.
But it was too small for you.
you.
We sat in the front room for a bit, and you
then
wanted to build. What did
I
you want
had
to build?
some Lego,
You
didn't
did,
I?
yeah.
And then I said to you, can you play with me?
You didn't. In fact, what you said
Daddy.
is, "Daddy, can you play with me?" And I didn't know what to do.
Why?
I've just met you and you called me
First time
Daddy.
you'd ever called him Daddy.
Did I?
The best
Yeah.
time Daddy had been called Daddy.
Yeah.
Did I?
It was scary.
We met maternal grandparents. We met them after we'd adopted Roman.
And they wanted to meet us. We'd said that we were happy to meet with any birth family.
Yeah.
Birth mum wasn't at the stage where she felt that she could, but maternal grandparents were, and it was really useful.
Yeah.
It was really helpful.
He's really close to them, isn't he?
So we have ongoing contact.
We have
maternal
contact with them now.
grandparents
Yeah.
Roman has ongoing contact with them, and that's really positive for him.
What did you feel like when you first came to live with us?
You were nice to me.
Oh, you're not nice to you anymore?
Yeah.
What's our most important job?
To keep me safe.
That's right. How have our lives changed since Roman came in? It's a lot noisier.
Yeah. Funnier.
A lot funnier.
Smellier.
Yeah.
Everything's changed, hasn't it, since Roman came to live with us? We're a proper family now, and Roman has a family that loves him very much.
I came to the decision to adopt in the first place because I've always wanted to be a dad. I've always wanted to have that feeling that I was a dad, and I felt like it was the right thing for me to do. Yeah, I had reservations about being a single adopter because I didn't actually know at one point, say 10, 15 years ago, whether or not single people could adopt. But then you kind of get to know that, you know, there is different styles of families, etc. And even though it is daunting, it's been the best thing that I've done in my life, no questions doubt. When you get that phone call from your social worker to say, you know, hey, I've come out of court, we're done, there's no feeling like it. There's no feeling like it. It was almost one of disbelief, but it's just complete elation that you can turn around to your family and friends and go, I'm a dad. It means the world. It absolutely means the world. I can't describe the feeling. It's the best feeling in the world.
We've got a ready-made family. How are we going to fit somebody else's child into that and make them feel comfortable? Would we be able to develop the same feelings for that child as we have our own?
But within seconds of meeting our little one, it was just done. We knew we wanted her to be with us.
People have just accepted that she's part of our family. Just to hear her shouting "Mummy, Daddy," it is amazing how she's adapted to it and how we've adapted to it as well. Because considering that we didn't know how well she'd fit in the first place, it has relaxed and it does get there. And we would definitely do it again.
He was tiny. He was so tiny. I didn't expect him to be that tiny, but 10 months old, I just thought, and he was sleepy, just woken up from his nap, and he was sleepy, and he was all cuddly with his foster mum, and he didn't know what was going on. He just ignored it completely. It didn't even faze him that we were there. And it was his dinner time. So when we went in to the foster carer's house, it was his dinner time, and he was she put him down in his high chair, and he was having his food, and it was just completely oblivious to this momentous thing that was happening. I just couldn't stop staring at him. He was just the cutest little thing I'd ever seen. It took him 3 weeks from moving in for things to settle down and for him to start trusting me, to look after him. And I think so the support was there, and his foster carer was my biggest support during that time. I was talking to her on the phone every evening, and she was giving me pointers. She was the person that knew him better than anybody. I met Nathan's birth mum after the matching panel. Immediately after the meeting had been arranged for me to meet her. It was good to meet her because at least then I could put a face and an animation. I could animate her. I had seen pictures of her, but I could animate her and see her smile. He does have a smile. And it was good to meet her because I can tell him that. I can tell him that you smile just like she does. For her as well, just to reassure her that I would love her child, and he was very much a child at that stage. As he gets older, and for him to know in her own words what she felt went wrong, and I think he will value that.
The process when we met the child that we were adopting was very structured and seemed to work really well. Basically, we got information from the social worker via a video footage of the child that we were adopting, and that was our first sort of sighting of her.
You just have to trust in the process because the people that are guiding you have done this so many times before, so they know the right way to go about things, and we just did everything to the letter, didn't we, that we were asked to do. Our daughter was really quite attached to her foster carers, and when we first met her, she wouldn't even look at us, or she cried if we were in the same room, things like that. So
she was only a baby as well. She was not even one.
So from that day one, the thought that she would transfer her attachment to us felt incredible. That could happen, didn't it?
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Time frame.
But, sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I think nothing can prepare you for those first few days. We were all excited, but we weren't prepared for the hard work and the transition, were we?
But then, obviously, down the line, it gets easier, doesn't it? If I'm honest, I had a bit of a real struggle at first when she came, and I think what helped me was the fact that I could talk to other adoptive parents.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing really, is just being honest with yourself and just saying, you know, if I do need help, asking for help is the first step in, you know, things getting better.
And my mum and dad have always been very, very supportive. Always let me know that if I ever wanted to trace my birth parents, they'd support me. But, you know, I feel lucky. I always say I've got two families. I've got two mums. In terms of me feeling different, no. But like, for example, my hair. My mum didn't have a clue what to do with my hair, which is a little thing, but it was a massive thing because she didn't know when we lived. That's where we lived, and there were no black people. So my hair was a big issue, which we laugh about now. When I look at photographs, it's like, oh, Mum, what were you doing? She said, I tried. So I met my birth mum when I was 17. She'd left a picture for me and she'd left a little letter telling me about her and her family. I'd always had a picture of her in my mind, and actually it wasn't too dissimilar to what she does look like, because in my notes it had explained, you know, her appearance. So I often used to just line picture in my head, and meeting her was really strange experience, because understandably was very emotional and crying and wanted to hug me and things, but to me she was a stranger. You know, I was her daughter, but to me she was just a stranger, so I found that really, really difficult. So it was my 40th last year, and my mum gave me the most amazing present. She did me a book, so it was a book from me from being adopted up until now, so it's pictures throughout my life. And I often just sit and look at that and just think how lucky I've been, what an amazing life I've had.
Horrible living with the fact that I feel I failed my baby because I was addicted to drugs. But it's a disease, it's addiction. Told me they'd found adoptive parents and they wanted to do an all about me book for my little girl, and would I take photos up to the front, up to the Sure Start Centre for them to be able to take for my little girl. So I took all these photos up. They weren't right to me no more, and I hadn't heard, I think she was 4 or 5 last time I got a letter from her, and she's 10 this year. I just sit and look at her photos at night and think, what will it be like now? Just know that it's heartbreaking. It's important that we kept updated. Us mums need to know our little ones are okay. Even though we can't have them with us, doesn't mean we don't love them. I hope that she's happy, she's settled, she's doing well in school. Take great care. That child you're getting is precious. Really precious. The most precious thing in the world to any mum. Keep us updated. Because me not getting my letters about my little girl breaks my heart every year.
Really scary initially. Yeah. Luckily we had a really nice social worker there who put us at ease really quickly. But like, you'd be incessantly cleaning for 3 hours before she came, and I'd be putting on sandwiches and drinks, and yeah, we were a bit sort of, you're on eggshells because you're waiting for somebody to say, actually no, you're not going to be parents, and that's going to be the end of it.
Well, we just thought anything was going to stop it.
Yeah.
Like you say, the house, is it going to be clean enough? Do you know?
It's feeling like you were being parents, isn't it? Someone else is deciding whether you
even just talking, like you would, you're going to say something wrong or something.
And then they're going to say, oh no, actually you can't.
But no, as the process went on, obviously everything became a lot easier, and you start to realise actually it's not as worrying, or you don't need to worry as much as you feel to start with. Yeah.
Our contact arrangement is yearly letterbox. So we did an initial settling in letter about 3 months after the girls arrived, just sort of saying how they were, and our oldest girl, actually, we asked her what she wanted to say, and she really wanted to tell her that she loved her and she was safe, and she said that would make her happy. So we did that, and then after that it's every year, and we set up a month, and then we send it every year and just wait for their reply.
Very early on in our relationship, Richard and I, we knew that we possibly wouldn't be able to have children biologically, so adoption was always going to be an option. But we did have 3 rounds of IVF before we went down the adoption route, and obviously they were all unsuccessful, but I felt it was sort of something that I had to do to try and be a biological mum. But once we'd done that, then we decided that we were well on the way to adopting to complete our family.
Yeah. We first went to foster carers' house to meet them. It was a glass door, and we knocked on the door, and this little apparition come behind the door, and we opened the door, or the foster carers opened the door, and this little voice says, "Are you my new mummy?" And that melted Claire, and straight away she were done. And then we heard the booming voice from the lounge, "I'm in here," and that was Chloe, the older girl, so completely different.
She's never altered.
Neither of them have. No. So, yeah, really nice experience.
Yeah.
Really nice.
We were very, very lucky that their social worker had done such a good job with them as preparing them for it, as had their foster carers. It got harder and harder as we went through introductions that actually they didn't want to go back. They couldn't understand why.
Yeah. I mean, on the day we sort of took them away finally, we were waving bye-bye to foster carers, and then the girls just basically...
Yeah, the foster carers obviously were quite upset. You know, the girls had been with them for a period of time, and their whole family was crying. They had 2 daughters as well. Then Chloe and Tilly are just going, "Woo! Come on, we're going."
Let's go.
So yes, that was probably the most difficult bit to manage of the introductions.
The final contact, because you do, that.
Again, you sort of build that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in somebody's home and in that sort of proximity with somebody and so intense
2
for
weeks,
those days. And you glean a lot of information from that, even just from a one-off meeting with birth parents.
Very important.
It's nice to come away with some real positives to tell the kids, and sort of things of the build of them. And I can always remember Chloe and Tilly's birth dad walking towards us, and I smile because I could see where she got her gait from, the way that she walks, because she walks just like him. The amount of time that I spent with Harriet's birth mum, I can see where Harriet gets her fiery temper from and her determination, and these are all really nice things to be able to share with them, because some of the reports and things that you get are so negative that it's nice to be able to have positive things to tell them about them too.
I would say, go for it, and like Richie said, take the first step. Go to an information event, find out a little bit about the type of children that are looking for homes, and find room for one of them.
Do a lot of research, do a lot of child psychology research, talk to different adopters, talk to social workers, go to information events. Don't rush into it, basically. It's going to be a long, often hard, but very, very rewarding process.
You have to go into it with open eyes and open mind. You have to allow for a lot of flexibility. And it's beautiful. Parenting is absolutely the best thing I've ever done. It is gorgeous. I wake up every day and I'm fortunate enough to have Nathan, and I'm fortunate enough to be getting another child soon. It's absolutely worth it, but it is also hard work, and you have to prepare yourself for that.
We'd advise people to really think hard about what what it entails to be a parent, and what you can bring to the child's life rather than what they can bring to you.
In a nutshell, if you're thinking about it, just go for it.
Don't think about it. Just get to that meeting.
Yeah.
I would say, if you're thinking of adopting, just go for it. Just go for it, because it makes such a difference. You're changing people's lives.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you found the information we've shared today useful, and it has helped you to make a decision about whether adoption is right for you. If you do still have some questions, please give us a call on 0113 378 3535 to speak with an adoption advisor who will be happy to chat through your own circumstances. Alternatively, you can email us if you prefer. Currently, all our assessment, training and contact with adopters is being done virtually, and where this isn't possible, or we feel this isn't right, we may need to pause your adoption journey and reconvene at a later date when we are able to visit you in person. Once you are ready to proceed, you will need to create an account on the One Adoption website, which is www.oneadoption.co.uk, to request a virtual visit with one of our adoption workers. To do this, click on Register in the top right-hand corner of the One Adoption website. You will need to create your own username and password, and when prompted for a registration code, input WEA191. By doing this, you will be given access to the home visit request form. Please complete this and an advisor will contact you to chat through your circumstances and answer any questions you may have. If it is appropriate for you to proceed, the advisor will arrange for your visit, which will be carried out via video call at this moment in time.